Why do these nonprofits need to focus on finding a storyline, one story, telling maybe one great story to start and then telling other great stories because you've got to pull people in, you've got to get their interest. And if you don't tell the story, you're not going to get their interest. So, how do you tell that compelling story?
You really do. And I think you mentioned the right word, compelling. Compelling is really what it's about, and choosing the right words, the right vernacular is critical.
First things first is that we need to stop being so secretive and we need to show what racing really is. And if we want to stand by and say that we don't believe that any horse death is okay, then we need to own up to what's going on, and we need to have an immediate response to what we're doing, to tell the public what we're doing about it, and we need to show them rather than just saying it.
He had the idea about how do we make a more complete camp setting for kids, but primarily high school age kids who many of which can't afford to come to a camp like this, can't afford the top notch tutoring and coaching and teaching that takes place. So how do we form a 501c3 that will allow these kids to come to these what we call experiences, and they can learn a whole myriad of different things at these camps. It's literally a 1 day, sometimes 2 days of instruction. And what you said is exactly right. We do have on the field instruction. We'll have some of the best high school coaches in the state that are on board with us.
I've always been a pilot, and I always thought aviation would be part of my retirement picture. My wife Meg and I used to do the occasional animal rescue flights, one dog at a time. Not very efficient for that dog. It was certainly a game changer. And then she suddenly passed, no medical history, and it destroyed me. I was a broken man, and I walked out of my medical practice and just for months just hibernated with our rescue dog, Doyle. And I got a phone call from a friend of mine telling me that Meg would want me to be happy, so I needed to get out there. And the only thing, I'd been spending months with my rescue dog, and I thought, this dog is helping me put the pieces of my life back together. Maybe it's something I should explore.
When you're in it, it's all you know, but you also know it's not normal, quote unquote. And the kids all the time say, we just want to be normal. And I tell them, normal is a knob on a washing machine. There is no normal thing. There is healthy and there's unhealthy and everything in between. But we had one child who was 9 years old who saw these two volunteers talking, and he said, they're so weird. They're fighting about a movie right now. One loved it, one hated it, and they're not even raising their voices. And I said, that's interesting. They look like they're just talking to me. And he goes, I know, that's what's strange. I said, so what I hear you saying is in your home, whenever anybody disagrees on something, they always raise their voices. And he sasays, well, yeah, that's the first thing they raise.
Wishes, if they're physically possible for us to grant, we're going to grant them. And we had a child a few years ago who said he wanted to go be an astronaut, go to the moon. Well, we're not able to send a child to the moon, but we send him to space camp. And so he went to space camp. He met real astronauts who had been to the moon. He got to try on his own special spacesuit. He went into a simulator. So there are parts of those experiences that we can create. And again, we get to flex our creative muscles on those, and it really is gratifying for us to be able to grant that wish, so we know that it's a heartfelt wish for that child.
That was one of my my first experiences, kind of sort of face to face with animals in laboratories. This was back in the late 90s. I went into the UCLA building where they have they have the primates, they have the dogs, and they have the cats there. And I just pretended that I was a student and just kind of hit buttons on the elevator. And I knew the floor that the cats were on. And when I got off on the elevator, there was a specific vivisector who I was looking for. I wanted to go to his office and just talk to him. And when I got to his office, there was a little note that said, surgery in progress down the hall. And so I proceeded down the hall, which was just the eeriest place. And there was another door at the end of the hall that said surgery in progress. And I opened the door and everybody freaked out, and I could hear the cats just screaming in pain as they were undergoing some sort of surgery while they were conscious and not given pain medication. And that was sort of my first experience kind of seeing vivisection for myself, and it really hit home, and that is why I made it my passion to change this.